Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
All right, hello and welcome to On Deck, brought to you by Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am the host, Big B. I am joined by my typical crew, my lineup, my backstop, the working man, Crispy Bacon. How you doing, bud?
Doing good. How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. And
Yep.
Flo there he's sporting that Mets hat that last year he laid to rest, but this year they're going to make the playoffs. Coach
And
B,
that
how you doing?
That was like a couple of weeks ago last year. Beginning of December, we had the ceremony.
We did.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, ain't no ceremony now. We're going to play for another month. So
Yep. They made the playoffs. And we'll be joined by Big Dog Greg here shortly once he gets logged in. So, little sad news today. Speaking of Greg, we'll get to Greg here. Greg, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys doing today?
Doing okay. And I just want to get the name of who we're talking about here. Dodger great Willis passed away today.
Maury Wills.
Maury Wills, yep.
Oh, okay.
That's right. I just read that.
1962 AL MVP or NL MVP passed away. So want to send our condolences out to the Dodger Nation there and the family and everybody out there.
I think he was like 90. So
89.
Running is good for your health.
Yep.
And that's what he did.
89.
He was the stolen base guy before Ricky Henderson.
Yes. Okay. Yep. You're right there, Dirk. So, Greg, what's the update on the Cardinals? How are they looking?
They're not looking too bad. They're not quite as hot as they were a few weeks ago, but they got a lot of excitement going on. Albert Pujols just hit his 698th home run a few days ago, and so with about 17 games to go or so, it looks like he's right on track to maybe hit that very elusive and exclusive 700 club. So just need to get some more lefties in there for him to get some good BP on, and I think that he's going to get it. Wainwright and Molina basically set a record for most appearances for a pitcher and catcher in games. I mean, they've been battery mates for forever. So I think they've had over 320 games or something like that they've started pitching, and he was the catcher. So Molina was the catcher. So got a lot of little records going on. Goldschmidt still pounding the ball. Arenado still playing great D, hitting the ball really well. They're kind of dropping off a little bit, playing down to some of their competition when they play teams like the Pirates and Nationals and stuff. They seem to play a little bit better against better competition, but overall they're holding their own.
All right, and then Dirk, Mets clinch. They're in the playoffs, so
Mets clinch playoffs. Yep. They're starting to click on all cylinders now. They still got a 1-game lead over the Braves. They did beat the Brewers pretty handily last night. You're welcome, Greg. Brewers a good team. They got some good players on that team, and the Mets got into Burns too last night. Finally chased him out of there. the hitters starting to come around a little bit. They've had a couple guys be hot in the lineup, kind of carrying them. Escobar has been hot. He's the player that they thought they were getting, and he's been, getting clutch hits, some home runs. The catchers have started to hit, so they're not an automatic out anymore. The lineup's pretty, clicking. Lindor's been getting hit. Looks like Polar Bear's fixing to go on a tear. He hit some kind of missile shot last night, 437 feet. And he's been getting his hits and hitting shots, getting them foul balls lately, just being a little out in front, but he looks like he's getting locked in. Jeff McNeil's right there hitting 320. Nimmo doing what Nimmo does, playing hardball, leadoff, gets on base. He's just a spark plug for the team. 100% effort all the way around. This year is one of the few years he hasn't really been hurt. So this is what he can do. His batting average is a little bit down from what he's normally around 280 something. He's at 260, but he gets on base, and he's playing the best defense of his life. He's turned into a very accomplished center fielder. The Mets pitching, they're the best in the National League. Sorry, Braves, but Jacob deGrom just set a 108-year-old major league record with his 40th start in a row without giving up more than 3 runs.
Wow.
And he's got the lowest ERA in the NL over the last 3 or 4 years. And it's just, it's sad that he missed a whole year, but he picked up this year just like he left off. His last start, he had 13 Ks, and in 6 innings, Buck took him out because he had 100 pitches. And it's like, he can go. You want to leave him in there, but that's the way they do it now. Last night, Mad Max, he got his 200th career win through a 5-inning no-hitter with 9 strikeouts. So that's what you got to call it now. Bullpen came in, did pretty well. Tyler McGill made his return to the Mets lineup in the pitching staff. He's going to pitch out of the bullpen. So that'll be good. He was a starter at the beginning of the year, and then he had a little arm problem, and it took him a few months, but he said he'll pitch wherever the Mets want him. He's good. He wasn't good last night, but he's a good. Carrasco came back from his couple of weeks on the IL, pitched great the other night. He's pitching good right now. Go Cookie. In the bullpen, Jolie Rodriguez at the beginning of the year and even into August, I was like, man, this guy's all over the place. But I tell you, with that left-handed sidearm across the body, he's starting to put it together. And it reminds me so much of Jesse Orosco. If you're a lefty, that ball's coming out of first base, and it's coming at 93, 94 miles an hour with a cut on it. You can't hit it. And he struck out the side the other night. He's gaining confidence. So that's good. Seth Lugo has kind of returned to form. Ottavino has been pitching good. Mets, the only injury they have is Starling Marte has a fractured finger, and it's not healing like they hoped it would. But the Mets are making it work, Danny Vogelback's been getting hits at DH and everything. And the Brewers announcers last night had nothing but good things to say about him. They were comparing him to Rowdy Tellez, they're about the same size. And they were saying what a great guy he is. He's good in the clubhouse, and everything. So, Mets are looking good right now. They just got to keep playing the ball one game at a time. Don't look back, look forward. Braves ain't going nowhere. They've got good players too. So it's going to be a fight to the finish. That 3-game series in Atlanta, I'm only a 12-hour drive away. I don't know, it's a boring drive because it's just flat and it's straight. But I don't know. We'll see about that. So things are looking good right now. Knock on wood. Okay. Got like 12 or 15 to go.
All right. Chris, I know your Rangers are officially out of the playoffs. So what does this last few weeks mean to you and the Rangers?
Looking forward to next season, probably. No, I think it's just mainly improving from where you're at now to somewhere a little better, and maybe overall it's looking a little better than what many Ranger fans have predicted. I mean, a lot of them were probably hoping for a World Series, but where we're at now, maybe it's better than what it was.
Yeah. No, I thought the Rangers were going to do good. And my Twins, yes, I know, before I get any slack, yes, I understand. Twins still have a chance to get in. It's a slim chance. They would almost have to go 12-5 in their or 12-4 in their last few games here, and hope that the Guardians and White Sox play less than that. But so I'm putting as Dirk would say, putting the Twins to rest. I think 2022 is over with the Twins. Prove me wrong, and I would be happy. But I think they're going to be done for. So getting into some scores here.
Big B, it ain't over till it's over.
No, and I totally understand that, but we know it's going to be a hard battle. I think they said 17 guys on the injured list.
Yeah.
The White Sox have 5, and the Guardians have like 3. So
if I was the Guardians, the White Sox the last few weeks have suddenly put it all together.
Yep, they're going to be scary.
Very good right now. So got a 4-game lead over the White Sox. Guardians had us all fooled, didn't they?
Yeah. So with the scores, Twins Royals just started. Giants Rockies will start here in about a half hour. Red Sox over the Reds 2-1 and bottom of the 4th. Cubs fell 1-0 to the Marlins, top of 6. Astros 4-0 over the Rays. Now 5-0, top of 5. Blue Jays over the Phillies 7-1, top of 5. Tigers over the Orioles. That's the bottom of the 4th. Pirates beating the Yankees 1-0, bottom of 4. Nationals and Braves are tied. Mets and Brewers are tied. Angels, Rangers, bottom of 1st tied. We got a rain delay in Chicago with the White Sox Guardians, game 1 of a doubleheader. Diamondbacks dropped it to the Dodgers 6-5. Game 2 will start in a couple hours. We still have the Mariners and the Athletics, Padres, and the Cardinals all set for first pitch here. So as the playoffs go, Yankees should be in. They should be clinching here, probably within the next week. Same with the Guardians. I'm sorry. Houston's already clinched. The only other team in that division that can make the playoffs is the Mariners. The Mets have clinched a playoff spot. Braves are a game behind them. St. Louis, 8.5 up on the Brew Crew. They should be clinching here within days now. And then, of course, the Dodgers already clinched. Wild card standings, you got Toronto, Tampa, and Seattle in as of right now. Baltimore's 5 back. Sox are 5.5. Twins are 8.5. In the National League, you got the Braves, the Padres, and Phillies in, with the Brewers 2.5 back. And that's probably the only team that would have a chance to get in. So guys, with that being said, playoffs are shaping up, getting down there. Greg, you kind of alluded to it. Pujols, I think he still has a solid chance to get it. I mean, I think right now, knock on wood, stay healthy, and I think he's going to get 700. So, with that being said, a big question's been asked: what milestone this year means more? Aaron Judge chasing Maris at 61, or Pujols at 700. So, Dirk, I'll start with you.
Well, the 700 club is so rare because it has to include several things.
Yep.
Longevity and
Yep.
being good for a long time. He'll be the fourth in that category, and he should get it any day now.
Yep.
And looking at players nowadays, and anybody that's over 25, let's see, Trout, he won't get there. Unless, well, he's already got neck, spine issues. He's on a tear right now, but who knows if he's going to keep playing at this level in 8 or 9 years. Miggy, he's done. I think they're done with him in Detroit there. A lot of the fans are saying he's just a hanger-on now after he got his 500th, but 700 is quite an accomplishment. Now, Aaron Judge, he'll set that record in a couple of days, in a week maybe. 61 gets 62. That's awesome. That's the American League record.
Yep.
I would kind of go with the 700 home runs a little more. If Aaron Judge was going for 74 home runs, I might say that's more of a record.
Yep.
But 700 is so rare. When you think of all the thousands of baseball players that have stood at home plate, and Judge, and what Judge is doing, though, it is unremarkable. He gets a couple of 3-for-4 games, a 3-for-3 game here and there, and he'll get the Triple Crown. And which also in the National League, Goldie's right there for the Triple Crown. Could have 2 Triple Crown winners. That's really something. But 700 or 62, I think 700 by a little bit is a more accomplished goal. Just because of longevity and being well and healthy for the majority of your career, even here showing it. I hate that some of the stupid fans are insinuating that Albert's been juicing this month to hit more home runs. Wow. Get over yourselves. I think he's just psyched up. Maybe he, when he saw he was going to get close, he started dieting a little more, lost 5-10 pounds, concentrate.
He's having fun.
And he's having fun. And he's got a goal. St. Louis is in first place. He has all these adrenaline pumpings. He's going to play in the postseason again. How excited is he? The Cardinals have a big chance to be in the World Series and win it. It's a great thing. Stop with these negative Nancy fans. Just leave it alone. So,
no doubt. I hear you on that. So you're going 700 by a smidge.
Yes.
Now, Greg,
rare.
Yeah, put your fandom aside for a second. Where are you going with it?
Well, when you look at the 700 club, it's a very, very, very small group. You got Bonds, you got Babe Ruth, and you got Hank Aaron.
Yep.
So if Pujols gets there, he'll be one of 4. And I mean, what great company that would be. Because I mean, we've got a few guys, we got, a little bit more than maybe a handful, maybe in the 600 range and stuff. But we've only got 4, I mean, you're talking about the cream of the crop there, with Bonds and Hank Aaron and Babe Ruth. So I think to hit a milestone like that, where you're just 1 of 4, because when you look at a lot of people that have hit 500, we got guys that aren't even in the Hall of Fame that's hit 500 home runs because for some reason they weren't seen as a Hall of Famer due to being a defensive liability or DH or something like that. Kind of took some of their credibility out. But when you're talking about the 700 club, it's a rare accomplishment. I think that it'd be awesome for Judge, and I think he's going to get it fairly soon to have the American League record for home runs and everything. And I think that a lot of people are excited, thinking that it's like the real true record because everybody else that's eclipsed Maris at over 61 has been kind of tainted with the PED scandal and stuff. You got Sosa, McGuire, Bonds. They've all kind of blemished that record to an extent, even though the record and all the home runs that they hit weren't expunged from the history books or anything. So I think that having Judge in there, and as far as we know, he's a clean player, would say a lot. But I think that the Pujols, if he could hit 700, I think that would just set him in a league of his own, because I think that people would talk about Judge for a while, but I think that the Pujols thing, when you look at the history books, I mean, that's something that people are going to be talking about forever, because there's only 3 in there right now with 700.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a tough debate. I guess I could go either way. I kind of with Dirk. I think it's 700. Even Greg, you kind of said it. 700 by a smidge. There's been 2, 4, 6, 8 seasons where guys hit 60 plus. Of course, Maris has the AL record. Sosa's on there 3 times. McGuire's twice, and then Bonds. So that's still a small club there itself. I mean, like Greg said, a lot of people are going to say 62 is the home run record because of everything else has been, tainted in their eyes. I mean, we've had the debate before. To me, you're taking PhDs. Yes, okay, some are illegal. I get that, but it's not going to help you become a better ball player. It's going to just have you hit the ball harder, hit the ball farther. So. And that's a debate we could probably have on a different show when it's all said and done. But
you got to still be able to hit the ball, even if you're on that. It's not like it's
exactly.
Exactly. We've seen it in rare instances where it kind of propelled someone like Brett Boone, to balloon statistics. But there's other guys that's been on PEDs that had 2 home runs and then got on PEDs and hit 4 home runs. So, I mean,
Brady Anderson went from hitting 12 home runs to 51 one year. I mean, I get it. I mean,
the biggest example to me, and it's a tragedy, was Ken Caminiti.
Yep.
I mean, for 7-8 years, he was a 250 hitter with 8 or 9 home runs. Excellent Gold Glove third baseman. And then all of a sudden, he's hitting 40 bombs a year. He's hitting 300. And there was stories about him, before games. Guys were saying, he was just juicing more and more and more. And he died when he was 44.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh, it just tears up your. They said he was just on all the time. A lot of guys, the way to properly do it, you go on, then you go off. You go on. He was just on, and he just, he made a lot of money, and but he sacrificed. He died at a young age, and it's probably because of that.
Yep.
There's some other examples like that.
No, there definitely is.
Short-lived guys, all of a sudden, that, hit 40 home runs when they never hit more than 12. And it's.
But the thing I've seen on Facebook where Yankee Nation is saying, Dirk, you brought it up, Pujols has been juicing for the last month or this year, but Judge hasn't. So I mean, we'll see where it goes. I hope both of them get it, but
you could say the same. You look at.
But Pujols has always been a bigger.
You could sit there, look at Judge. He's huge. He's got big money. You could say he's juicing.
Yeah, but the thing is Judge and Pujols both came in as a bigger dude. I mean, they've been definitely, so. But let's move on. The next question I have is 500 club for the home runs. Who's going to be the next one? Of course, Pujols and Cabrera are both over 500. The next closest is Nelson Cruz at 459. I don't think he's going to hang around 2-3 more years to get it, but what do you guys think?
Well, Nelly was doing fairly good early in the year. I haven't checked on him lately, but he's still got to hit 41 more. So if he has 2 good years, with 25,
he's got he's got 10 right now.
10. Okay. So he's fallen off since I seen him last.
Yeah.
Age might be finally catching up with him. He's still got that bat, but 10 home runs, and he had 30 some last year, so maybe it's time for him. I know he worked out and keeps in shape, but it's
41 and 18 years into the league. I mean, the DH can only hold on for so long. So
he didn't really start playing until he was like 27 either.
Exactly.
He had a couple of years where he wasn't that good. Then he got traded to the Rangers.
Yep.
They sent him down. And when he came back, he was a different player. He changed his batting stance and everything, worked on it. And all of a sudden he's a good hitter. So, for 12, 13 years, one of the best hitters in the American League, I don't know about Hall of Fame with him. It used to be 400 automatically gets you in there, but
I think he'll be a Hall of Famer, depending on who's up against him.
Later vote, yeah.
Greg, how about you? What do you think?
About Nelson Cruz?
Yeah.
I think that Nelson Cruz might have an outside shot, but he needs to go to a better team, that's going to be able to get a lot of hits and everything. He's kind of stuck in purgatory right now with the Nationals. Sometimes they have some hot games, but sometimes they don't put up hardly anything. So I think.
Oh, okay. All right. Didn't like his Nelson Cruz.
Yeah.
He's back.
If he goes to a team that's got a lot of good players in it, a lot of people that can get on and stuff, because right now he's one of their main guys in the lineup for the Nationals, so they don't really have to pitch around. I mean, they can pitch around him because they don't have too much in front of them or behind them. So I think that if he could go to a loaded lineup or something, I could see him potentially getting it. But at his age, in his early 40s, pushing maybe mid 40s, I don't really see a whole lot more than about 15 to 18 home runs, at his age anymore. So it might take 2.5 years or so if he wants to stick around that long.
If somebody's willing to pay him, why not? But
yeah. So I think that he's got an outside chance at it. But
Chris, how about you? I know we kind of talked on Four Bros about it. Nelson Cruz getting 500. He's 41 away.
31 away?
41.
Okay. I mean, you could probably get it next year.
Well, if he stays healthy, gets on the right team, like Greg said, possibly 2 years for sure.
I think he's very close, and he deserves it.
Yeah,
Too bad he's not with the Rangers again. But,
I'm really surprised after the Nationals had pretty much a fire sale that they didn't get rid of him and send him to a playoff contender just to give him a chance at some playoffs.
No, you're exactly right. I thought that was a big shock this offseason. One guy I brought up on Four Bros that we have, Giancarlo Stanton. He's 13 years in the league, 32, and he's sitting at 373. Now, my take is he's probably got the closest chance to get to 700 if he stays healthy.
700?
10 years.
Are we talking 500?
Well, we're talking 500. I think he'll get 500. But
if he stays healthy, he gets hurt a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if they move him primary to DH and he stays healthy, I think he's probably got the closest chance right now, outside of his teammate, to probably get to the 700 club. Dirk, what do you think? 500 for sure for me.
I think 500 is attainable. He's got to stay healthy, though.
Yep.
When you're hurt throughout your career, you keep getting hurt. When you start getting into 32, 33, 34, those injuries catch up. Your legs aren't as strong. You know, you've had surgeries. Your reflexes aren't as good. That's the difference between a guy that was really good in his 20s and then had a few surgeries. And Stanton's missed a lot of time, you know, with different issues. So now, unless he suddenly starts staying healthy, he could do it. But he gets hurt every year. You know, this year, no exception. And he was out a long time. The Yankees, I think, missed him, you know. And so he has a good shot at 500. Because when he's if he plays 130 games, okay, that gives him 30 games off. He's going to hit 35 bombs, you know. So, you know, he'll go at it at a good chunk, but it's toward the end is, you know, with his legs still good at 36, 37, you know, how's his shoulders feel, you know?
Yeah.
You know, him being a full-time DH might help. I kind of think he's mostly a DH now with the Yankees.
Yeah, it's gonna be all about him staying healthy. So,
yep.
Greg, how about you? What do you think? Stanton 500 for sure, or?
How many home runs does he have right now?
373.
373.
So he's what?
127.
I think he can, because even when he only shows up for about 60% of a season, he's still good for 27 home runs.
Yeah.
So I think that if he can put in, you know, about 4 or 5 half-ass seasons, I think he can still get it done. Because he does hit a lot of bombs when he's in the lineup. It's just that he'll come in, go on a stretch where he'll hit 4 or 5 home runs, and then he's got a hangnail or he's got something going on and he's out for a while. So if he can stay like Dirk said, you know, if he can stay healthy, he's got a very, very strong chance at 500. But it's just a matter of, you know, the guy's putting in about 100 games or maybe a little bit less over the last few seasons. As soon as he came to New York, he just started sitting out a lot of games.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. No, you're exactly right. Chris, how about you? Oh,
here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Stanton to 500 at least. What do you think?
I think so.
Okay. I know, again, we talked about Four Bros. Now, another guy brought up on Four Bros, and, you know, just looking at it, Mike Trout. He's been in the league for 12 years, 32. Definitely got some injury problems. He's another guy, too, that, you know, I think time might be to move him to full-time DH. And then he should be able to get 500. Greg, what do you think?
I think that he's too good of an athlete just to have him come off the bench and hit. But I think that if you're going to try to save his legs, or you're going to try to save his arm and stuff like that, or try to keep him as healthy as possible, maybe a move to like first base or something would be a pretty solid move, because I think that he's far too athletic and too good of a defensive player to just kind of be coming off the bench. You know, there's guys that are DHs that you wouldn't put them out there for anything. Edgar Martinez was a great DH, but he wasn't a very sound defender at third base, but he could sure hit the ball. And then you got guys that are DHing that could actually come play a little bit of defense. You know, Big Papi could still play a little bit of decent first base, even though he DH most of the time. But before they had the universal DH, they were sticking him in there because his bat was way too good. So he had to go play some defense in the World Series and stuff. So, but I don't know about a move quite yet. He's 32 years old, but I think that as you see primetime catchers. They were talking about that at one time with Mike Piazza, moving him to first for a while to save his legs. They were thinking about moving Cal Ripken from shortstop to third and then from third to first to just save him some wear and tear. So you got guys that are solid defensive players, but they might be losing a little bit out in the field, but they're still too good to just stay on the bench and come out and hit every 9 batters. So I think maybe in another 3 seasons, maybe you think about moving them to the DH. But I think that the thing that's working against Trout isn't necessarily injuries, though he's had some injuries the last few seasons. It's the fact that the Angels are doing absolutely nothing from a pitching standpoint and from a budget standpoint to really put a good team around him. He's just basically collecting awards, and has no playoff experience to show for it. He's just over there racking up big numbers, and he's definitely one of the top 5 players in baseball still, in my opinion. But they're not doing him any justice by not getting any decent pitching and fielding a pretty good team around him.
Yeah. Dirk, what do you got to say?
Mike Trout, I think he'll get to 500. Now, the injury he had this year, it's a spinal injury toward the top of your spine, up, I don't know where, between the shoulder blades and up. I don't think it's spinal stenosis, which ended David Wright's career. He seems to be okay now, and this is right when David Wright started going down very fast. He only played till he was 34, and even 30, when he was 34, he played 1 game. So I think Mike Trout can do it. To me, to save him a little wear and tear, I would move him next year, or maybe the year after, move him to left field, where he doesn't have to charge into the fence, and he'll still have a good arm. He'll still be an excellent glove. I don't know what the Rangers have or the Angels have in their farm system. And it, like Greg said, it just sucks that him and Ohtani are, especially Trout, he's kind of stuck with his team because they got the contract. Ohtani, I think next year is a free agent. Would not mind seeing him wear this hat. Billy Epler has a relationship with him because Billy Epler was in the Angels front office for a while. He was one of the ones that went to Japan and helped talk Ohtani into it. I don't understand the Angels. Their owner, even when I lived at Artie Moreno, he just in the early 2000s, the Angels just happened to have really good players, and they went to the World Series and they won the World Series. And it wasn't because the owner signed good players. They just were good, and he wants to sell the team. So he's not going to spend any money. He needs to sell the team. And if somebody wants to trade for Trout, it's going to be a steep asking point. I think he'll hopefully, I like the guy, he plays the game the way it should be played. He's hard-nosed. It's 100% all the time. I hope he stays healthy. He knows what he needs to do to protect his back and things. So I'm sure in the off season, there'll be special workouts, and it probably would behoove the Angels to move him to left field. It's not as strenuous as center. He still has his speed and his arm. It's just, crashing in the walls and making diving plays. Just save a little bit. But maybe they don't have anybody in the minors that can play center field, even half as good as him. Time will tell. The last 2 years have been a little injury plagued for him, so that's a little worrisome, but it could just go away too. His first, when he came up at 21, he was good right away, MVP. And for the next 8 or 9 years, boom, 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 boom. And then the last 2, all of a sudden, injuries. it could be a thing, and it could be the sign of beginning things to come. But I think he should be a lock for 500 home runs.
Yeah.
That's not unseemable. You know, if he plays 125, 130 games a year, you know, and maybe plays, you know, they move him to left, or even they put him at DH, you know, to rest him a little more. You know, some guys don't like that. Some guys are okay with it. Some guys, the manager's got to talk them into it, you know. So, you know, we'll see. I think he has an excellent shot at 500 easy, though. He should get deep into 500. Maybe it's to 6, you know.
Yeah.
If he plays till he's 38, 39, you know, and if he plays pretty injury-free. A lot of ifs, you know.
So next guy I want to talk about, Bryce Harper, 11 years in the league, 29 years old, 284 right now, and he's another guy that's been hitting the injury bug a little bit. Greg, what do you think about Harper? Could Harper get 500 plus, or?
I definitely think that Harper could. They've got a good lineup around him actually over there in Philly. So I think that if they keep Real Muto and Hoskins and some of those guys around him, I think they got a pretty good lineup. So they can't really pitch around too many people, and they can't really pitch around him because they got a pretty deep lineup actually for hitters. You know, their pitching's been a little off this year, but I definitely think that if he can stay healthy, I think that he's got several years ahead of him at that 30 plus home runs. So
yeah.
Okay, Dirk, what do you think?
Yeah, Bryce, if he stays healthy, he's going to get 400 easy, but he has shown a propensity to get hurt. You know, he's not as bad as Stanton, but close, you know, but that's because he plays so freaking hard, and his swing is really hard, you know, so we'll see. Maybe he'll figure it out. You know, he does have a shot at 500. You know, you just need 5 good years and he'll be really close, you know, by the time he's 31. So by the time he's 30,
no, he's Harper's 29.
29. Okay, yeah. Stays relatively healthy. He should get 4 easy, 500, a good shot.
All right.
You know, there's not too many guys that are around right now.
No. Chris, what do you think? Harper, 500?
Yeah, if he's healthy, I think so. I mean, you know, he's been playing a while. He's had amazing, you know, stats in a career. So I think if he stays healthy, he could.
Yeah, no doubt. I think so too. So, couple guys here with under 10 years of major league experience. One being Aaron Judge, 7 years in, 30 years old, 217. And Corey Springer right behind him. He's 9 years in, 32 at 217. What do you guys think about that, Dirk? What do you think of those two guys?
Judge's only issue, he came up when he was like 24, 25. Yep. You know, that's he took a little while to develop. They knew what they had. And, you know, that's the thing that's working against him. He's been relatively healthy. Yeah, I think last year he got hurt for a bit, but, you know, outside shot. He's got a long way to go. He's going to have to play till he's 39 or 40 to get there, just because he came up at such a late age. Kind of in the same boat as Pete Alonso. You know, Pete doesn't have as many home runs, but he's got like 150. But he came up when he was 24, 25, you know, and now he's hitting 35, 40 bombs every year. You know, it's just, that's a big thing too. You got to come up and be good right away, you know.
Judge thing, I think if he can hit 40 to 50, 55 home runs a year, he's gonna surpass 500 and stays healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's
If you go back and look at Hank Aaron's career, it's freaky. Every year, 40 home runs. 40. He never hit 50, but 42, 45, 46. He never had a 32 year, maybe the last couple of years, Willie Mays had a lot of 40 years, 50 years, but he also had a couple of years where he hit 32, but he that year he would also hit 330. Some years he tried to hit for a more higher of a batting average. Albert came roaring out of the box. I mean, his first 10 years, Greg, I mean, it was 45, 48 every freaking year. He hasn't really come close to that. He still had, when he was on the Angels, he still had really good years, hitting 290 with 35 home runs, but it wasn't the St. Louis production. He came roaring out of the box. That's what a guy needs to get 500 or 600, 700. You got to come in at 20 years old and be good right away.
Yeah. Greg, what do you think on Judd or Stringer getting to 500?
I definitely think at the clip that Judge is going at right now, I think that he definitely has a shot. But, you're talking about one of those special years, pushing 60 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
How often does that really happen? How often does something like that come around? So I think that after this season, I think that more realistically, I can see Judge in the 35 to 45 range. On a consistent basis for a while. So I think that he's got an outside chance, but he's going to have to play a lot, and he's going to have to stay out in the field a lot. So he can't be missing a whole lot of time. And we see that happen a lot once players hit around 32 or so. A lot of them get injured, hamstring injuries, stuff like that. So if he takes care of his body and doesn't have any really huge health issues and stuff, I think that he's got a shot. As far as Springer is concerned, he's been pretty lights out, since he stepped into a major league uniform. So, excellent leadoff hitter. He makes hard contact almost every time. He never gets cheated at the plate. He always gets good cuts, has a great eye. And he's a very consistent ball player, and he has a lot of skill. He's a great leadoff guy. He can steal some bases. He plays excellent outfield. He's a good guy in the clubhouse. So I think that if he can stay steady, and they got a good team going, right? They got a good thing going right now. The Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays is definitely a team that's got an outside chance of making the World Series. I mean, they're playing some really good ball right now. They got all the juniors, all the former players, kids on the team right now, and they're pounding the ball. So I think that if he can stay on good teams and everything, he's one of those guys that he's a leadoff guy. So he doesn't have people hitting in front of him or behind him, but he still makes it happen. So I think that he's got potential, but he's going to have to keep up this kind of pace until he's about 37 or so, I think, to make it happen.
Chris, what do you think on Aaron Judd or Springer making the 500?
I think the key for anybody on this list is to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Judge kind of started a little later than probably a lot of the others, which is kind of understandable. But Judge, I could see maybe. I see both of them as a maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I think if Judge could stay healthy and hit, like I said, between 35, 45 bombs a year, I think 500 is definitely reachable. He's another guy too. He gets on that pace like McGuire and Sosa did. 700 is not out of the question. Definitely Springer's another guy too. Who's been stinging the ball around. So I can see, he might miss 500 by a tad. So, Coach D, I want to bring up your guy, Pete Alonso. You brought him up already. He's been in the league 4 years. He's 27. He's got 142 already. Mm-hmm. So, what do you think? Where do you think Alonso could end up?
Um, he's healthy. He doesn't get hurt much. He's a solid player. I mean, it's, 4 years in, 5 years in. I think 400 is a good shot for him. He did his first year. He did go off into outer space with 53 home runs, set the rookie record. I think he can hit that again. But I think what he's trying to do now in this year is a little bit of that. He's trying to become a better hitter. He hits to right field a lot more now. Okay, it hasn't really showed up in his batting average, but his home run, he hits a lot of home runs to right. He's more of a little bit of a spray hitter, and he doesn't try to pull everything for a home run. So, but I think staying healthy, that's the key. I think 400 is easy for him, and then who knows after that. We'll see when he's 35, what he's like in 8 or 9 years,
All right, Coach D, what do you think?
Chris?
Yeah, you just went to Coach.
Or I'm sorry, Big Dog Greg. What do you think?
I think that Alonso definitely has a pretty good shot at 500 because he's hitting about 35 home runs a year as is right now. So, and he's a big guy. He's a strong guy, and he's not a guy that takes a lot of days off, and he's a guy that's in the lineup a lot. So he hasn't had, up to this point, a lot of injury concerns. So I think that if he can
missed one game this year so far.
Nice.
Yeah, so if he can stay healthy like he has been the past 4 seasons, I think that he's got a great shot at it. The guy's got a lot of pop. He can hit to all fields, and everything. So I've seen him work all sides of the field. So I think that he's got a really good shot at 500. But I think that, like Coach D said, 400 should be a pretty good lock. I think that he should have 400 by the time he's probably about 32, 33.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take it.
Chris, what do you think? Pete Alonso getting to at least 500. Chris?
Maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. I think so. I think he has a chance.
Yeah, no, I definitely do too. I mean, he's only 4 years into the league. He's 27. Like Dirk said, I mean, he's been watching him. If he can stay on that pace of, 30, 35 home runs, he's definitely got it. Another guy here, Juan Soto, 5 years in, 23, and he's already at 123 home runs. So, Greg, where do you think Juan Soto could finish up at?
I think if Juan Soto can stay healthy and be content to where he's at and just play some solid baseball, because he's got an excellent approach, in the batter's box. He never gets cheated on cuts and everything, and he's got a ton of power, especially pull power. So I think that since he's only 23, I think that if he plays until he's 36 or so, I can see him probably pushing the late 400s to about 530, 540 home runs.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, the ceiling for him is you can't tell. He could be a 50 home run a year guy for 5 years in a row. He was a little off this year. I think he's still going to hit 30 plus home runs. The batting average isn't there, but everything you read about him, all the scouts, he's got all the talent, 5-tool player. He's really young, good attitude so far. Money hasn't gone to his head.
Not yet.
Not, yeah. These
yet.
things that come up sometimes, later on. Of course, he's gonna, whether the Padres can keep him, it's to be said. It's to be seen. But man, he's got all the potential in the world. he's a guy that could maybe eclipse 700. Again, like we keep saying, stay healthy, stay good. He plays outfield, so outfielders usually don't get as hurt as like shortstops, third basemen, infield catchers, especially, and he plays a corner position because he's got a cannon of an arm. He probably could play center field, but we'll see. He's got all the potential in the world. It's all in front of him. It's injuries and health. If he can play 150 games a year, 140, 150, stay healthy, he'll be one of the all-time greats. It's the talent's unbelievable. Of course, if speculation had anything, there'd be guys that have 1,000 home runs.
Yeah, exactly. Chris, what do you think? Soto could where's guys? Where is he at?
I think he could do it. He's been around for a little bit, and I don't see why not. He could do it.
Yeah, it's one of those guys like Dirk said. You come up young, 21, 22, and
you start hitting 19.
Yeah, and you start hitting bombs. Yeah, he came
right
up
away.
Yeah. So if he can, key word is stay healthy. He's in a good lineup with Machado and Tatis and those guys there that they can't pitch around everybody. So somebody's gonna start seeing some good pitches to hit. So I'm with Dirk. I think sky's the limit for that guy.
Oh yeah,
So, but as we close out the show here, I'm just looking at some scores here, meaningful scores. Brewers are taking it to the Mets 3-0, top of 4.
Sorry, Greg. Trying to help you, bro.
Well, the Braves aren't helping you either, Dirk, because it's 2-0, top of 5 over the National Braves are.
Of course, the Braves never.
Yankees are losing to the Pirates right now, 3-2 in the middle of the 6th. Let's see here. The rain delays over in Chicago, so they're just getting started. And I think that's it for meaningful games right now. Everybody else starts later, and of course we had the double dip going on. So, Greg, final thoughts. What's going on?
Well, we've been talking a lot about health and how players, if they could stay healthy, they could do this or that. And as Albert Pujols is approaching number 700, it brings to light something about how important it is to stay healthy and being on the field, because there's a couple guys that definitely would have had 700 or more home runs in their career had they been healthy or been on the field. And those two names that come to mind for me are Ted Williams, who lost over 4 years due to military service. And then, of course, Ken Griffey Jr., who spent most of his time in Cincinnati injured, and he still was able to hit 630 home runs when it was still all said and done. But when you look at someone like Ken Griffey and all the time that he missed, you're talking about a guy that probably could have been pushing 800 home runs in his career, because he came up at 18, 19, and he was on a very prolific trajectory, and then everything just kind of just dropped off once he started having leg issues and hamstring issues and stuff. So this is not something to take lightly about Pujols, because you got to have a lot of service. You got to be on the field a lot and take care of yourself. So, if Pujols gets it, it's a testament to how well he's taking care of himself and being mostly injury free for most of his career. So that's just what I wanted to say about. You allude to those two guys that could have been part of the 700 club, but other issues got in the way of that.
All right, Coach D, final thoughts, bud?
Yeah, okay, well, I'll keep the 700 thread going. A couple of guys. Mickey Mantle played the last 7-8 years with really bad knees, and he retired at 35 with like 585 home runs. Plus he had the alcoholism issue, but that didn't seem to affect his hitting. It affected his living a long time. He could have, if he didn't step in the pothole in the Yankees outfield of the water drain in the mid 50s, he tore his knee up. They didn't have surgery like they do now. You know, he could have been Willie Mays, missed 2 years of military service, finished with 660. Plus, he played in Candlestick. And I've read people say that as many as 100 home runs that wind took away from him. Okay. And another guy, because I'm a Mets fan, but he's an older guy, Ralph Kiner. He only played 10 years in the major leagues, but I think he had over 500 home runs.
Oh, wow.
It was really, he hit a lot of home runs, but he had a very short career. Do you have that there, Brandon?
I'm actually kind of looking right now. Ralph Kiner.
He had a lot of home runs in 10 years. And, you know, I don't know why he retired. I think he had military service, but
Let's see.
he retired kind of early. I don't know why, but he had a lot of, he was 50 home runs a year. He was that guy. Big, strong, Pittsburgh Pirates first baseman. He had close to 500 or right over 500. You know, like Greg said, Ted Williams, 4 more, you put 4 years on him. Oh, easy. 600 at least, you know, and maybe another 400 batting average.
But yeah, we'll have to look for that one for sure. I'm not seeing him on the home run list yet. So is it with the K or?
How many runs did Ralph Kiner hit? Okay, I was way off. Okay. 369, but he still only played 10 years.
All right, well that still would have made, you know, definitely a good.
Let me see. Yeah, he played from the middle 40s to the middle 50s. So I was way off, but he's still, for 10 years, that was, you know, you
double it. I mean, he's looking at 700 if he's hitting, you know, so.
You know. I don't know why I had that in my head. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
You're hoping.
How about you? What do you got going on?
Yeah, kind of watching the Rangers. They're losing 2-1 in the third inning, bottom of the third. So I mean, nothing much.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know, maybe someday we'll look at what ifs on a show. You know, what if Griffey would have stayed healthy? What if, you know, Rodriguez wouldn't have got popped for a year suspension, where those home run totals would have been? But anyways, I want to thank everybody. Tonight, Tuesday Night Mania will not happen. Got some under the weather people, so we're gonna bump that. Chris probably will just play a rerun of last week's episode. But just keep checking in on Coast to Coast. We got a lot of things coming. Big talks with the Oregon Cougar football team and the owner there, Chuck Hoffman. We got some things coming. A show for sure. October 8th is their signing day, which we'll be broadcasting live with J-Mac, and he'll be there and hopefully catch some interviews. So with that being said, thank you, Greg. Thank you, Coach D. And before we forget, happy birthday, Chris.
Thank you.
It is your birthday. Happy Bacon Day.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
With that being said, please check us out again on deck next Tuesday. Have a good night.
All right. Good night.